Hi everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. Thanks so much for being here. Today we're going to be doing this orange base routine. So, how I do my base makeup with my favorite orange blushes. Just because it's fall. Thanks so much for watching this video. Thanks so much for 45,600 subscribers. We are inching closer to 50,000 subscribers. If, you want to be part of the Ragdoll community, the Ragdoll Republic, or what we got going on here, make sure you're subscribed down below. Just double check it. And if you enjoy anything throughout this video, if you learn anything new, please give it a like. Let's jump right into it. I'm very excited to show you how I do my orange blush. This was actually a recommendation from one of the Ragdolls, from one of the comments on my community post, especially because I just did my pink blush. So let's see if you enjoy the orange blush the same. Okay, everybody, so let's get this all started off. I did my brows off camera because they take, honestly, a long time and has nothing to do with my base makeup. If you want to know how I do my brows, I have an entire video on that. I'll put it in the cards or show up at the top of the screen. Let's get into it. So first, let's talk primer. I like to use a hydrating primer because off the bat, let me tell you, I have normal to dry skin, right? So it can get drier, but it's pretty much normal. I don't have an oily skin type, so I like to use a hydrating primer. If you have an oilier skin type, you may look for a more mattifying product, but that's not my needs. So I'm going to show you two that I love. Today I'm probably going to be using the Makeup Forever Hydra Boost Step 1 Primer. And then I also love the Milani Skin Quench Hydrating Primer. I love both of them. Literally yesterday I used this one, the day before I go back and forth. But this one is a drugstore option and this is a high-end option. And what I like to do is I like to put the product on the back of my hand. Why do I do that? Because I feel like squeezing it all over the place can get a little bit wasteful, and squeezing it into the brush gets a little bit unhygienic, you know what I mean? So I put it on the back of my hand, and I take my finger and just put some dots all around my face. I might need to add a little bit more for my forehead. I'm gonna take this huge fluffy brush from XO Cosmetics and just kind of spread that out. I'm not gonna say I'm blending it in because, not really. But I'm spreading it all around the face. Now, do primers make a huge difference in face makeup? That is highly, highly debated in the makeup community. I mean, highly debated. Now, can I say definitively that primers make your makeup last longer? I don't know. I have to do some more independent Lauren studies about that. What I can say is that primers do improve the look of your makeup, especially if you use a specific primer. So if you use a hydrating primer, a mattifying primer, it can enhance the outcome of your makeup, and that's what I love primers for. Now that the primer is added, let's get into the foundation. So I always use a combination of foundations, and I'll explain why. I like to use a traditional foundation. So this is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow. And then I like to use a tinted moisturizer. This is the Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer and oil free. And I've always been like this because sometimes foundations can be too heavy of coverage for me. I don't need too much coverage. It can look a little And then tinted moisturizers are not enough coverage. Also, my skin tone is very hard to perfectly find. So this one's a little bit lighter than me and this one's a little bit darker than me. I like to mix them two together. Okay, and I've always been like this. When I was younger, I loved the CC creams. I love the mixing and matching. So this is how I like to do my foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the back of my hand, just like I did with the primer, because I do not want to add this directly to the face. So we have both here, and all I have to do now, mix them together. And I'm going to add that all over the face. I'm going to add some on the forehead. And now that I have no hair, I gotta make sure I hit these little spots back here, because from behind me, it will start snitching on me real bad. To blend this out, I'm gonna be using the Real Techniques buffing brush. And I'm going to, they're not circular motions, it's like little, you know what I'm saying? Little drag. Put that a little bit in the foundation back of my hand because we need a little bit more for underneath the nose. Underneath my nose is naturally super red. So I gotta make sure that I add product there. underneath that chin. Foundation on the nose is not super important to me because I cover it with contour and highlighter anyway, so I don't really care that much about that. What I do care about is I'm going to need a square brush for this. I'm going to take a square brush and dip it into that foundation that's left over in the back of my hand, and I'm going to clean up these eyebrows. So I like to use foundation instead of concealer so I don't have the halo brow effect. If you don't know what the halo brow effect is, it's when the top of your brow and the bottom of your brow are like super light and noticeable, especially if there's flash. I like to use foundation because it's closer to my skin tone. It's much more natural and it's not as stark. You can tell like just by the name halo brow effect that like it's a stark difference. That's not what I'm going for, but I like to, you know, just go ahead and clean up the top and the bottom of the brow. It does make a difference. As you can see, it's subtle, but it makes a difference. Yes. Now let's move on to concealer. So I always go in with two different concealers, well, two different concealer shades. Today we're gonna be taking the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and I'm gonna start with shade 365 Cashew. This is about 1, maybe 2 shades lighter than my skin tone, and I'm gonna go to the outer side of my face, over by where my cheekbones are. The outer corner, underneath the outer corner of the eye. And I'm gonna start there and work all the way towards my ear. I'm gonna really leave this alone because I'm gonna be adding another concealer anyway. I will go underneath the nose because like I said earlier, it gets real red real fast. Doing the same on the other side. You're probably like, this is a very weird like placement, weird shape. Like, why are you just adding it there? I used to add it all the way underneath the eye, like in a triangle form. But I've noticed that since I put the lighter concealer, spoiler alert, since I put the lighter concealer right underneath the eye, it's just kind of a waste of product to put both of them there, you know? I'm gonna be taking this Real Techniques contour brush to blend that out. Put it over here because it's just real red. Now, some people do let their concealer sit before they blend it out. I don't because I haven't seen that it makes a huge difference. Like, I've tried it both ways. I haven't seen that it made a huge difference. So I just blend immediately. Now I'm going to be taking the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer in shade 345. And this is the lightest shade. Not the lightest shade in the line, but the lightest shade that I have. I'm going to be adding there right underneath the eye. Now, why are we doing this? This is what you call the highlight shade. Right now what we're doing is we're contouring, we are concealing. More so the reason why I use concealers is not to like cover up blemishes or in the way that concealers were like made for and what they were used for. A couple years ago, it wasn't even like using concealer like this. It was like, I have a pimple, I want to just conceal that one little spot. I'm using concealers here to contour and to highlight. So right now we are highlighting. We're adding this light shade right underneath the eye because wherever you add highlight shades, wherever you add the lightest shades, all over the face. I've explained this also in eyeshadow. That's where the eye is going to be attracted to. So I want to keep the eye attracted to the center of the face. That's going to catch the eyes where I want to catch attention. That's why I want to catch your eye right underneath the center of my eyes. And as we start contouring, you'll see how the definition comes about with the lighter shades and the darker shades. So I'm going to be taking this Real Techniques setting brush. I'm going to blend it out. I'm going to go a little bit on the nose because it really doesn't matter. I'll be back to contouring all those things later and cover that up. I really, really, really love a Morphe M137. This is a much denser brush, meaning the bristles are much closely packed, and you see it's much stiffer, right? So it's smaller, it's stiffer, and I love to use this brush right here to go underneath the eye. It just gives me a little bit more access as I get into this very small, delicate part of the face. If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is too light underneath my eye, you can take that concealer brush that you started out with and kind of mellow it out just a bit. Now this concealer does crease a little bit. I see a lot of comments like, how do I keep my concealer from creasing? You're not gonna keep it from creasing all day, okay? You're not gonna keep it from creasing all day because guess what? You have skin texture underneath your eyes, okay? There's some things that you can avoid in makeup and it can be user's error. There's some things like smile lines, wrinkles under the eye that some products can make worse. Like they can really, really fill in fine lines and maybe they're very, very thin, so they settle into the skin. That's a thing. But completely covering up skin texture and fine lines and wrinkles that are there, let's manage your expectations, okay? Just so that you can always be happy with your makeup and not feel like it's something that you're doing wrong. It creases. And it is what it is. Now, let's get into the blush for today because I have made so many base tutorial videos at this point. It feels like I've made almost too many, but then y'all ask for a different variation. So I'm like, I don't know. Let me know down below if there's any type of base that you haven't seen. We've done dewy, we've done matte, we've done pink, my new pink base that I be wearing all the time with pink blush. And today we're going with orange. So today I'm going to be using the colored Raine Creamy Blush in Spicy. It didn't look like this when I bought this. I just use it all the time. And I'm going to be applying this with the Color Raine Small Angled Face Brush. This is also a black owned brand, so if you're into that, hello. All right, so I'm going to put that onto the brush. I'm not going to do too much. Like I'm tapping lightly because this is very pigmented, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the apple of my cheek and work up towards the ear. I can go a little bit harder. I can go a little bit harder. See? Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit on this side just so that it's nice and not too much over here. And blend that all the way up towards the ear. I love orange blush. I've always loved orange blush. I think it is just so flattering with my skin tone and my undertones. And we're working this up towards the ear. I like to apply blush before contouring because once you contour and you put the blush on top, it can get a little bit muddy, right? So I like to put the darker shade after the lighter shade because when you put the lighter shade after the darker shade, you kind of like drag into the contour and it gets weird. So I always like to do my cream blush first. Now, if you watch my blush 101 video or any of my other base videos, you know that I do a 2 blush approach. So I'm going to start with the cream blush, which we just did. After I set the face, we're going to go back in with another powder blush. But right now, before we set the face, we're going to contour. So I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever HD Skin All-in-One palette. And this is the deep one. They have a deep and a lighter version. So this is my new one of the lighter version. And this is the deep one. I'm going to be going in with this Morphe brush. This is a Morphe V108. And I'm going to be going into this shade here and this shade here. I don't think they have shade names. But this medium brown and this brown is just a smidge darker. And I'm going to start up here at the jawline. Now, before I even contour, I just want to show you, before I even put that product there, you can see there's a darker line here because naturally there's, you know, facial anatomy underneath our skin and our, you know, fat and muscle, whatever in the face. That is why we're contouring, because when we added foundation, we kind of covered up all of those different highlights and contours and defining moments on the face. We covered that all up with the foundation. Blank slate. Now we're adding back in concealers, blushes, contour to both add that back in on a base level, but also to emphasize some of the things that we love the most about our face. So we are going to start up here near the ear. And I like to use circular motions for this part. I also like to go up towards the temples. And some people do a whole 3. They do go up towards the temples, down on the jaw, and then underneath I don't do that because it always makes a mess underneath my face. But that is something that you can do as well into that clean motion. Now that I have super light hair, it is a struggle. It is a struggle. I do have makeup and contour in my hairline all the time, but it's okay. Sacrifices we make. So now let's do this nose contour really quick. I'm going to be taking a Morphe E62 and I'm going to be going into that lighter shade. And this is like a slanted brush, right? A mini slanted brush. And I keep my nose contour very, very simple. Very simple. I'm going to start, what is this called? This is your inner corner, so near where your tear duct is. Above that, towards the brow, so your tear duct go up towards the brow. This little like caving moment. That's where I'm going to start putting the contour. Then I'm going to work it down the line of my nose on both sides. Then I'm going to make a V at the bottom of my nose and blend that out because, ooh, that was heavy-handed. I feel like it looks a little bit crazy on my forehead. If you feel like your blush is doing a little bit too much on any part of your face, you can always go back in with that brush of foundation. I'm not adding any extra foundation to the brush, but you know it's already dirty from before. So it will give just a light reinforcement. All right. And that's basically all we're doing for the nose contour. I like to keep it very simple, very simple. To clean up the nose contour, you can go back in with that M173 and kind of force that lighter concealer shade close to where you added that nose contour. So that's like reverse contouring, reinforcing the contour without having like keep going in with that brown, because the more and more you add on the nose, it can get crazy. Now let's set the face. I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier setting powder, my fave. So I'm going to be using a ColourPop F31, and I'm going to add the setting powder right underneath the eye. From there, I'm also going to go down underneath the nose and around the mouth. On top of the forehead, especially over top of these brows, because you see the shiny brow look, it just bothers me in pictures. It bothers me, like the top of the brow. So we're going to go ahead and mattify that. That's what setting powder is for, to mattify. Now, setting powder does make a huge difference in terms of keeping your base makeup on. Maybe I should make an entire video on how I keep my base makeup on. I've made a setting powder 101 video and a setting spray 101 video, but maybe I could combine, break it down, talk some more. So if you want to hear about that or anything else you have questions about on the base, please comment down below, because I am running through, I literally have an entire whiteboard of questions that you guys have given me, and most of those questions come from my comment sections, but also they come from the Ragdoll Town Hall survey that I made literally last year. We had like almost 500 responses to that, about just hearing about your makeup needs, how I can serve you. I'll put the link to the survey in the description box, and also you can comment down below what you want to see next. If you have anything that's base related or not base related, or something I've talked about today and you're like, girl, I need you to talk about that for an entire video because I'm so confused, let me know down below, because that really does help me figure out what content to make. With that being said, if you ever feel like your nose contour is out of control, you can always correct it on this step here, getting real close to the nose contour. I don't usually mattify anything out here because it just never makes a difference for me, honestly. So mostly the center of the face, top of the brows, and underneath the nose and the mouth. And now I'm going to be taking this Made by Mitchell brush. This is an MF3. And we're going to be going into the Beauty Bakery Snackaroons blush in Hey Pumpkin. And this is a powder blush. So I like to use powder blush after I set the face with setting powder, cream blush before. And this is an orange blush as well, but it's not as yellow orange. It's a little bit warmer than the cream blush. And we're going to be adding this with a super light hand. With the powder blushes, you can have a little bit more fun with the way you apply them. Put a little bit on the top of my forehead, of course, and then on the nose. If you feel like, whoa, I just added too much, you're gonna go right back in with that setting powder. And you're all good. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight the nose. I'm not gonna do any highlight on the actual base today. We're going for matte and orange. I'm gonna take this Estate Makeup highlighter in Lunar. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'm wearing this highlighter out. But I love a cream highlight. I love the sheen that it gives. And I'm gonna be taking this BH Cosmetics 10 brush, just a small detailer brush. And I do the little, what's this called? Exclamation point. I do the exclamation point. Boom, boom. That's it. I'm also going to highlight the Cupid's bow because I'm going to be putting on lipstick in a second. I know I'm going to need that. Yes. If you want to know how to do any of my lip combos, we're like in a lip combo series. I think I want to do chocolate brown next. So let me know down below if you're interested in seeing that or interested in seeing any lip videos. But we're going to do a nude lip. If you're like, I want to know more about this lipstick stuff, don't worry, I have an entire playlist full of lip combo videos, a lot that we've done recently. Before we get to the lips, I'm going to add a little bit of white in the waterlines. I'm going to be taking the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk per the always and a detailer brush. This is the Princeton brush 20/0. You can use any small craft brush. And I am going to apply this right to the waterline. Where's your waterline? Right there, right on top of your lower lash line where your lower lashes live. This is your waterline. I know that vocabulary may be new. So I'm going to apply this right onto the waterline. I'm going adjacent to the eye. If you want to know more about the waterline, I have a whole waterline 101 video. We go through different colors, different things that are safe that I've put in my waterline. But for the purpose of this video, we are just going to add that white in nice and adjacent to the eye, not perpendicular, parallel to the eye. This is scary. This not so much. My goal is to not get any white underneath the waterline. That's my goal, because it starts, you know, getting messy underneath the face. But as you can see, I've gone outside the lines a little bit today, but that just gives me an opportunity to show you what happens when you do that. Spoiler alert. Nobody dies. It's all good. The reason why I wanted to do the waterline first before I get into the lips is because I want to finish the eyes off. And I like to use, this is a ColourPop E28 brush. I'm going to go into this Made by Mitchell Head in the Clouds palette because it's the closest white that I have. And I like to add a little bit of white into the inner corner. The reason why I do this is because, once again, highlights, light shades, they really draw the eye. And I want to draw attention to the center of the face, so where these tear ducts are right here. But also because sometimes the white in the waterline can travel if you wear your makeup for a long time. I wear my makeup for a long time, especially recently. I've been taking these trips to New York where I would do my makeup in DC at the beginning of the day, go all the way to New York, go to an event in New York, and still have the makeup on that night. You know, I've done this like 3 times this month alone. I like to have my makeup on for a very long time. And, you know, naturally, sometimes makeup moves around, slides around, and the white in the waterline can start to get messy and like move all over the place. So I like to do that because it looks good, but also it is functional. Next, this is gonna be the last thing we put on the eyes before we put on lashes. I'm gonna use this Lancome Ultra Precise Waterproof Liner. If you use any black eyeliner that you have, and I'm gonna make a very small line right on the eye. The reason I do this, I feel like I just started doing this like maybe a month or 2 ago, and I love it because it gives like a doll eye effect with the white waterline. Like, you see the difference? And it makes applying lashes much easier because you don't have that big gap in between the lash and where your lashes are, like between the fake lash and where your lashes are, because you already have added that black. It blends much easier. And it's super simple. It takes like, what, 15 seconds, if that? The literal only hard part about this is making sure that both eyes match. That's it. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to apply my lashes because I have to find them. I'm going to apply my lashes really quickly, but I'm not leaving you for dead. I'm not leaving you by yourself. If you want to know how to apply lashes, I have a video on that too. It will show up on the screen. I'm going to throw these bad boys on, then we're going to do the lip, and then we'll be done with the face. Wait, before we do that, what I was going to say is, if you have that white underneath the eye and you're like, this is all over the place, I said I would show you how to, fix that. I said that, the world's not going to end, you're not going to die, and I meant all of that. So first of all, first line of defense is just adding that setting powder. Light hand. You don't want it to be cakey underneath the eye, but like a light hand, because it's so light, it's white, it's very easy to cover up. Next thing is all the lash hairs. You're gonna add that mascara right on top and you'll cover it. So don't even worry about that. I'm gonna add my mascara and my lashes. I'll be right back. Lashes are on. Let's put on this lip. I'm gonna take in the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Limitless Brown, and every single time I show y'all this in a video, it gets smaller and smaller because I'm using and sharpening it frequently. So the Cupid's bow is already highlighted, so we're gonna go ahead and line the lip. Went over the top lip. A little bit underneath the bottom lip. And over the left side of the top lip. Boom. Now I like to overline the lips a little bit, not because I'm trying to like make my lips appear bigger, but just to emphasize the shape. And then I'm going to color in just a smidgen, make that line a little bit sharper. Next, I'm going to be adding the Anastasia Beverly Hills Lip Velvet and Pink Sand. Because my face is so orange, I don't want to go for like a too pink of a lip because then it's going to look like a little bit crazy. It's going to clash a little bit. I'm going for something much more nude, neutral, brown leaning. I'm going to add the About Face Matte Fluid Eye Paint in On Point. Right to the center of the lip as always. Then I'm going to add a gloss. I'm going to try this Fenty Heat Gloss Bomb Heat in Lavender Savage. See what this color looks like. Okay. And if that's a little bit too cool, you can add like a nude brown gloss. And we are now done for the final step. I'm going to take that black liner, if you have a brown liner, that's even better, and add my little beauty marks at the end. Put one there, one there. Okay, that's too much. One there, one there, one there, one there. These two are humongous. I'm glad that it happened though, so I can show you what to do if that happens. We're gonna let it dry down first because anything you try to do right now is gonna mess it up. Don't ever mess with wet mascara or wet black liner. Don't even let it dry, then handle it. Once it dries, I'm gonna add a little bit of setting powder on top. Okay, everybody, so here is the final look. I had to add some concealer off camera and fix that. It was a big oopsie with that black, but usually some setting powder will really just do the trick. Just lay that setting powder right on top and then fix the dot. But thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like down below. Please consider subscribing. We are almost to 50,000 subscribers. We're less than 5,000 away, which is almost to 100,000. So you know, please consider subscribing down below. It helps a whole lot. Also, what helps a whole lot is any recommendations, any questions you have, leave them down in the comment section below. Like I showed you my board earlier. I care about the ragdoll requests, okay? I care about what makeup problems that y'all are having. Maybe I said something in the video and you're like, I don't quite understand that. You want some more understanding with me, make a whole video on it. Let me know down below, because that really does help me figure out how to best serve the ragdolls and meet your makeup needs. And I will see you all in the next video. Until then, if you want to see more of my looks, more of my life, you can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all at Raggy World, the same way it's spelled down below. I also have a bucket list series where I try different foods, activities, cuisines, challenges on TikTok. And the bucket list series is getting a revamp. There's some stuff coming very soon. So go check me out on TikTok for that. And I'll see you in my next video. Let me know down below if you like the pink base or the orange base better. Let's see. See you in my next one. Bye. This is a much denser brush, so the bristles. This is a much denser. This is a much